What's up everybody? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing another full face of cheap makeup. I don't want to say drugstore because some of what I have you can't get at a drugstore and you have to order it from the website. However, full face of cheap makeup, everything is under 10 bucks, so let's just get into it. Okay. So now we're going to move on to foundation. Now for foundation, I'm actually going to be mixing two. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But the first one is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. And this is actually in the shade 102 Fair Porcelain. Now this is way too light for me. I'm fair, but this is insanely light. So I'm actually going to be mixing in the CoverGirl Clean Matte BB Cream, and this is in the shade Fair, because even though this is the lightest shade, it is still way dark. So when I mix these two, the shade is pretty good. I don't know if everybody else is having a hard time with the craziness of the world right now, but that's just me. Hopefully this does not oxidize a crap ton, because when I use the CoverGirl Clean Matte on its own, not only is it dark when you first put it on, but it's also just, it oxidizes, so your skin ends up like 3 shades darker and turns you orange, which is not ideal at all. And I'm actually just buffing this into the skin. I'm not like doing blending motions or anything, because I just find that buffing for my skin works better. These foundations both feel relatively creamy, including the matte one. And that's, strange for a foundation that is supposed to be matte for it to feel this creamy going on, but it does. So just something to note. It does seem like a little bit streaky, like I'm getting some streaking going on here. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not very smooth. So I'm definitely gonna have to go over that with a sponge. Super streaky, however, the coverage is actually pretty good. I'd say I'm getting maybe like a solid medium coverage, a little bit under that perhaps. Forehead is not looking great. For whatever reason, yeah, it's just not sitting great on my forehead. It's like emphasizing my texture right in this region. So we're definitely gonna need to go over that with a sponge. This is dry, this isn't wet. This is just a dry Shot Miss A sponge, and I'm just going to go over all of this. Going over it, it does help a little bit, but I wouldn't say that doing this, is super, super helpful. It's just very dependent on the foundation. Okay, I think that's about as good as we're gonna get with the foundation. Now we're gonna move on to concealer, and for concealer, I'm going to use the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Light Peach. Just so you can see what that looks like. My camera is not focusing at all, so we'll have to deal with that later. Okay, we have a really large doe foot applicator. So there's that for you. I don't really like these gigantic applicators, but it's what we got to work with. Okay, this feels pretty creamy, so I'm not going to use a ton of this. I'm just going to put maybe like half my normal amount, and we'll start with that, and then we'll We'll see how it does, you know, with the little bit that we have. And we're rolling again. Sorry guys, my camera stopped recording again. I feel like with this concealer, the best thing to do, at least on my skin, is to first blend out with your brush, and then I would go in with a dry sponge. That seems to be getting me the best coverage. Okay, so to the touch, skin's feeling pretty tacky, so I'm definitely gonna need to set this with a face powder. So I'm going to do that now. I have my powder brush. I'm actually gonna mix these two powders. Okay, the first one is Shop Miss A brand. Now, this is that product I was talking about earlier where you cannot actually get this at the drugstore. However, it is $1. $1 face powder, and you can get this on shopmissa.com. It's $1. This is what it looks like, and this is the translucent face powder. I'm gonna put this just under my eyes by itself, but for the rest of my face, I'm going to mix that with this. And this is the Maybelline Shine Free loose powder, and this is in the shade medium. The reason that I'm mixing in the white powder is because this is just a little bit too dark, and mixing in this lightens it to the right shade as I proceed to get it all over my table anyway. Fun times, fun times. And I'm just going to set my cheek area. Got my mirror right here. Wow, that is a lot of powder pickup. I don't know if you could see that, but a lot of powder pickup. But mixing in the translucent powder, it does help to keep the shade from being too dark. Now we're just gonna take that same translucent white powder and go right under the eyes with it. I know this doesn't work for everyone. A lot of people have very finicky under eyes and the powder doesn't work for them under their eyes, but it works for me, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we are back. And now, doing the other eyeball. This powder has a lot of powder pickup, and it is probably going to end up irritating my eyeballs. However, that concealer with that powder combo is actually pretty good. You can still see like a little, like some lines, like right here, but for me, that's pretty normal. I have like massive under eye lines, so anytime I put product into a line, it creases, and you know, that's just pretty normal for me. So, I mean, I'm not really bothered by that all that much. We're just going to scrape this powder off my table so that way I no longer get it on my shirt and dump that out. Okay, moving on, we're going to move on to blush, bronzer, highlight. So for blush, I am going to be using this Wet n Wild Color Icon in the shade Keep It Peachy. And I am actually a really big fan of these shades, only because I have blue eyes, so I just find that the orange tones tend to make everything pop. That's just, you know, what I've noticed with my skin, you know, but you do you, obviously. So I'm gonna take my contour brush. This is just my preferred blush brush. And I'm not gonna go like super into the cheek area. I'm just gonna kind of go over here. And then what I do is I apply, and then I take a fluffy blending brush with a little bit more product, and I just add that in. Now repeat with the other side. It's very pretty. It's a nice warm shade, which is what I prefer for my skin tone. I prefer, you know, warm toned blushes. Okay, so now for highlight, I think I might actually skip the bronzer because that powder is kind of dark. Yeah, let's skip the bronzer because that powder is pretty dark. But just since I decided not to use it, I'll go ahead and tell you what I use. I use the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. Don't get the other one that looks lighter. That one pulls pretty cool toned on me, and I'm not a huge fan of it, so I just prefer Physicians Formula in the shade Bronzer, the Butter Bronzer. So for highlight, I'm going to be using this AOA Studio Wonder Baked Highlighter. This is also from that Shop Miss A website I was referring to earlier. With this one, I will tell you though, you have to use a brush. You cannot use your finger with this highlighter. If you like swatch it on your finger, it looks super patchy, not very pigmented. It just doesn't go well. I've tried numerous times. Just use a brush. That's the way to go with this. So I'm gonna give it a swirl, tap off the excess, and then go in. Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty with a brush. And moving to the other side, tap off the excess. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That is pretty. Okay, so my base is not the best, but it'll work. So I'm gonna go in with some setting spray, and for setting spray, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set. I believe you can get this for like $6 at Walmart. At least that is where I got it from, and that is what I paid. Let's make sure the product's gonna come out. Hopefully that helps it meld all together. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Well, as good as it's gonna get, I should add. Okay, so now to eyes. My ears are bothering me today. Okay, most expensive part of everything in this video is this, and this is the Profusion Cosmetics Naturals palette. And as you can see, I've been testing this quite a bit. And these are the shades in it. Nice, you got some cool tones, and then you got some warm tones. It's just an all in all, a pretty normal looking palette. So now we're gonna go in with our transition shade right after I locate, there we go, my crease brush. And let's see, what type of eye do I wanna do today, guys? Let's go with gold, I like gold. So first we're going to take this attached, right here, that light brown shade, and we're gonna go in with our crease brush and put it into the crease. This brush is really awesome for getting the product into the crease. I really enjoy it for that purpose. And now we're gonna go into the other side. I'm gonna use my other hand because I'm just finding working across to be a challenge. Okay, now that we're getting kind of dark, so I guess we'll go with a smoky eye today. Now we are going to take this other fluffy brush, make sure there's nothing on it, and we're going to take a darker brown shade. It's this one right down here. This is the shade Cozy. It's in the shade Cozy, and we're gonna go in with that. And I'm not gonna bring it all the way across. I'm just gonna kind of bring it right under where that transition shade is. and then a little bit in towards the inner part of my eye, but not all the way. Kind of tapping that out right here. Going over to the other eye. This is going in places I didn't really intend for it to go, but that is okay. We're gonna cover it up. All right, now that that's done and we're looking pretty deep, we are going to take a shimmer shade to cover up kind of the patchiness. That is not the correct brush. If I could find the correct brush. Oh, here we go. And it's looking like I got something on it. So let's just make sure I ain't got nothing on that. We're good. Okay, so now we're gonna go back into the palette and let's actually take, I guess let's try this Excited shade right here, this like lighter gold shimmer shade. And I guess let's go ahead and wet it. I prefer to wet my shimmer shades. That's just my preference. All right, so taking that Excited shade, sorry. And we're going to take that all over the lid. That's pretty. It's subtle, but it's pretty. However, I'm noticing that these eyeshadows, they are pretty powdery. I'm really having to work with them. So if that bothers you, then you probably would not like this palette, but that doesn't really bother me, so I can, you know, look past it. Okay, that's pretty. So now we're going to the other side. Let's get a little bit more setting spray on the brush. Okay, that's pretty. And yeah, when the shadow hits the light, it's very pretty. But I actually think I'm going to take my finger and then place a little bit more of that just in a very specific spot right here in the middle. Because I want it to be super bright and shiny right towards the middle. So that's where I'm going to apply this right now. Okay. Other finger. Okay, that's pretty. So now we're gonna take our little crease brush again, and we're gonna go in with that original attached shade. And we're going to place that kind of where the darker brown shade meets the shimmer. And kind of just buff that out around the edges. Oh yeah. Oh yes, that's pretty. Going to the other side with that. Oh yeah, that's very pretty. Now we're gonna go in for the inner corner shade, and for the inner corner, I think I'm actually just gonna take that same highlight shade that I used earlier, the Shop Miss A brand and the shade Cloud. Never mind, we're gonna use brush because I need to spray it. Okay, got it on the brush, and now we're gonna go to the inner corner. And I'm not taking this like all the way from the inner corner and then out towards the rest of the eyeshadow because I don't want to take away from that shimmer shade that we put on. I'm just going to put it like directly on the inner corner. That totally works for an inner corner shade. All right, so now to finish up with the eyes, I'm going to go back in with that lighter brown shade again, or excuse me, the darker brown shade again, that cozy shade. And I'm going to take that and just deepen up here. And the same with the other side. Okay, now we're going to go on with some eyeliner, upper lash line eyeliner. And for that, we're going to be using the eye definer from Physicians Formula, and this is in Ultra Black. It's my favorite. I don't think I'm going to go crazy with the wing today. I think I'm just going to do basic eyeliner because I kind of want that shimmer shadow to be the star of the show right now. So I'm going to get that on. Okay, not the greatest work on the eyeliner. Would not recommend using your phone to try to apply eyeliner. Okay, but we got it on and it looks okay, I suppose. Alright, so now let's move on to mascara, and for mascara I'm going to be using everyone's favorite, it seems like. Everybody loves this. This is the Essence Lash Princess, God, words are hurt today, False Lash Effect Mascara. Now I know that they have several types of these. The green is my favorite, but the purple is also good too. They just do different things and I like this the best. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going now. Ooh, I just got my eyeball. That hurt. Okay, other side. What I will say is be careful with this mascara because it is fairly wet, and if you are not careful it will transfer like down to the concealer that you've already put on your face. So just be mindful of that. I think I may have to get some more eyeliner to cover up some shadow that fell where it should not. So let me cap this and I'm going to do that and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're back and we're rolling again. So I just went ahead and finished up with the eyes. So for the waterline, I used the e.l.f. standard eyeliner, and this is just in the shade black, I believe, just the shade black. And then I smudged it out with that same dark brown shade in here. Cozy, that we put on the outer V of our eyes. So that's what I did for that. Now the next thing I'm going to actually do is the lips, and I believe that's the final step for today's video, so we're just going to go ahead and get that rolling. So for the lips, I'm actually going to be using two different products. The first one is the Maybelline New York Super Stay Matte Ink Liquid Lipstick. And it appears that the shade has been scraped off of here, but if I can find the shade, I'll drop it down in the description for you guys. And then on top of this, I'm going to be applying the e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss. I do find this has a very strong tingle and it has a scent. So if you're sensitive to scents or to like the menthol minty taste of like lipstick or lip gloss, I would not recommend this. I would just use this for the look if you're following along. So we're gonna go ahead and get this lip look rolling. Oh, so pretty. And I love the applicator on here because it just makes applying the product that much easier. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So we're gonna let that set down for a minute before we go in with our gloss color. This is gonna be so pretty. Okay, feeling pretty sticky now, so let's go in with the gloss. And this gloss is in the shade Sparkling Rosé, the e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss. Wow, we're real sticky right now, but that's okay. We're gonna give it a minute and we're gonna cap that. I am finding that lip gloss, it is plumping the lips, like I can see it happening right now. And it feels refreshing. Sorry, don't know where we left off, but the e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss, I definitely recommend. It's a super minty, nice feel, and it is plumping the lips quite nicely. So that is that. Okay, we're done. So this was a full face using cheap makeup. Like I said, everything on here was under $10 with the exception of this, which was $10 exact. My hits, wow, this was really nice. You do have to kind of work with them to get really good color payoff, but still nice. I'm also a huge fan of this e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss. I'm definitely gonna have to test this more. It's super refreshing, it's very minty, and that's, you know, I like that. So, and then my other favorite is actually this crease brush from e.l.f. Yes, from e.l.f. I like this crease brush. It applies the product very nicely, and just in general, it's a nice brush. My misses, I'm gonna have to go with the foundation. Now, I don't know if it's this or if it's this, but I have a feeling that it's this because this has a major white cast. I could tell when I swatched it that it was gonna have a major white cast, and it just seemed like one of those foundations that's going to rub off. So this is probably the culprit. I would test, you know, this on its own if the shade wasn't too dark, but because the shade's dark and the only way to lighten it is to mix this in, I just can't really get a good, you know, a good idea of, you know, from doing it that way. And I just find that white mixers and me don't really work out. It doesn't really ever get the shade to where I need it to because I have a very weird undertone to my skin. Everything else was kind of just but if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would love to have you guys back for some more videos. I'm going to be posting every Monday, so drop down in the comments what video I should do next. Do you want to see a full face of a certain brand, another cheap makeup video, makeup tutorial, skincare? Just let me know your ideas. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.